everyone, it's Taylor here today, and I wanted to walk you through a couple of my favorite things about Tailored Expressions ink. So one of my favorite things about our ink is the superior coverage that it gives. And that makes it awesome for generational stamping, allowing you to get lots of different shades of the same color with just one inking of the stamp. So I'm gonna start by showing you, I have one of our full-size ink pads. This is my absolute favorite color, Cookie Monster. And then I have some stamps here that I'm just using to demonstrate. These are from our Fresh Florals stamp set. So the way that I ink a stamp is a twist and a tap. And you can see the great coverage that you get all over that red rubber. And then I'm gonna stamp that down 3 times. So you can see the first stamp is that really nice teal, and then 3 more times and you get 3 different shades of that same teal color. So let me show you what that looks like with a couple other of our colors. This here is Pea Pod, a nice twist and then a tap. And I'm gonna do that one 3 times. Beautiful, and then I'm gonna do the Strawberry Milkshake to show you what that one looks like. Now, one of the awesome things about our ink is that as it dries, it really blends and accepts into the paper to create amazing coverage. So you can see actually, this is the one that I just stamped, and then here is one that I stamped, about 10 minutes ago, I would say. So the color, as it dries, it seeps into your paper and really gives you amazing coverage on your stamp images. So you can see a little bit of the difference that happens as the ink dries. So that's one of the reasons why I love our ink. Another reason why I love our ink is a word that I made up, blendability. Actually, I think it's a word that I made up, but anyhow, I think that our ink really blends well with each other. So we have a bold, bright color palette, meaning that a lot of the colors work really well together. So what I'm gonna show you next is a technique called stencil brushing. Now I have these stencil brushes here. These are my favorite. We have these in the Tailored Expressions store. You can wash these. They do take quite a long time to dry. So what I actually do with mine is separate them into a color family. So I would use all of my blues with this particular brush, all of my different yellows with this one, etc. So when I'm ready to use the next color, I would just brush off on my placemat until there's no more color coming out of that brush. And then I can use it with the next brush and there's no need to wash it. But it will stain your tips, which is why I like to keep one brush for each color family. It makes it easy to tell. Now, if you did use multiple colors with one brush, you're gonna end up with just a brown tip because eventually those different colors are gonna soak into the bristles of the brush and change the color to kind of a muddy brown. So I have 2 different sets of brushes and then I have those separated out by color family. So what I'm gonna start doing in order to create my background, I'm actually gonna use these 3 colors, Cherry Pop, Lemon Meringue, and Cookie Monster, and I'm gonna start with the Cherry Pop across the top. Now this is our Sugar Cube cardstock, and I should mention that this cardstock I would highly recommend for using with our inks, just for the way that it accepts the ink. It's very smooth in texture. It's also Copic compatible, so it's great for coloring with Copic markers if that's something you like to do as well. So I am just brushing across the top of the felt pad here with my stencil brush. And my first step is actually gonna be to brush off onto my placemat. And that takes away really the first saturated bits of color. And then I'm gonna go direct to my paper from there. And you can see I'm just kind of brushing back and forth. Those edges are gonna get a little bit more color because you're coming off the edge and back onto your cardstock. And when you feel like you've run out of color, just kind of come right back to the ink pad. Again, swipe off on your placemat those first bits of color that are a little bit more saturated that you don't want to get on your project. So once I've laid down that first red, I'm gonna take my yellow lemon meringue with my yellow stencil brush here. And again, I am brushing back and forth. I'm not being very shy with the brush here. So you don't want to do it very lightly. You really want to get in there and make sure that ink absorbs into the bristles. So then I'm going to go ahead and do the same I did before, just off on my placemat, get those saturated pieces, and then I'm going to go to my paper. And this time I am overlapping a little bit up into that red area. And as I continue to go, you can see that that red and yellow make orange. So I'm getting a little bit of an orange spot there as I do that. So I'm going to get a little bit more yellow here. Continue on down towards the bottom. And you can see the red and then the orange and the yellow. So my next color is going to be the Cookie Monster. And I have my Cookie Monster stencil brush here, or my blues. And I'm going to do the same thing here, off on my placemat and then straight onto my paper. Now this pad might be a little bit more dry because it is my favorite color that I use all the time. So, might take a little bit extra to really get that going on the bottom there. And you can see that portion that I'm overlapping the color again. Now I'm getting yellow and blue makes green. So I've used 3 colors of ink and come out with a 5-color background. And now as this dries, just like I showed you with the generational stamping, as it dries, it really seeps into the paper and all the color blends together just seamlessly. So you won't see those lines or the flecks that you kind of can see as I've gone. But I wanted to show you what a project looks like that I created using a background like this. So I took one of our background stamps, this is the musical background, and after letting this dry just a little bit, I overstamped the background onto that stencil brushed piece of paper. So I hope you've learned a little bit something new about the superior coverage and the amazing blendability of our inks. And you can check them all out on the Tailored Expressions website at tailoredexpressions.com. Thank you guys for stopping by. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.